Hey guys, welcome back to GSC. Dad's 54 Chevy Suburban chassis is sitting behind me, and we're getting back at that, hopefully to do some button-up touches today, and that way we can work on the body swap soon. The chassis is a runner again. The new TPI 305 is in. I've got some footage of that running, so I'll roll that real quick, and then we'll get into a chassis update. So as we can see, there's a lot buttoned up here. We need to get some P-clips made to hold everything in place. We've got zip ties for the time being, trying to mark out where we wanted to put our lines at. We need to drill some holes and get some P-clips in to put these brake lines in place. So that's what I'm going to work on today, is marking out across the cross member here for our fuel lines, across this cross member for the pressure line, and then start looking at marking the axle pads here in the rear, which need to be welded. So they're just kind of chilling out unbuckled here with no fastening, mostly because we were trying to get the pinion angle right before we went too much further. So those are our top things today, is get our P-clips on, get these fuel lines buttoned up, and that way they're not just hanging and draping across. They can actually have their own little home. And once those are buttoned up, I can focus on welding these axle tabs, or at least getting them tack welded in place for the time being. And if we have to, we pull the rear axle back out post body swap. But he is also bringing down, we have another inner fender here that is currently in the back seat of shop duty. That has been semi-hacked up by someone else long before Dad and I's time. And that way we could kind of figure out, how do we need to tunnel this inner fender to clear the steering box here. This is a square body late model steering box and rag joint from, well, I think you got it from CPP, one of the kits. As you can see, he's got the drag link here, the bars all in place, tie rods on. These are super slide springs in the front, give a little bit of an altitude adjustment. So I'm gonna go and start marking this frame, figuring out where we're going to put all these P-clips, and then once we start punching holes, I'll do a wrap-up segment here with everything kind of tucked up where it's supposed to be, and possibly with the axle marked in place. Before I get crazy with drilling holes, measured out where the lines sit, and I'm just using chalk and measuring down the frame rail and putting an X where the P-clips should fall. These are a little bit close, but I've got fuel lines and brake lines here. Only a brake line on this side. Up here we've got fuel return and fuel feed, so I'm making sure that I have adequate P-clips to support them across the frame rails. And then I'll work my way to the front here, do the same thing with the front brake lines as they cross over and go under the radiator core support, and back across to the master cylinder. So that's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and let Dad look at these positions. If he's comfortable with it, then we'll start punching holes. Well, the Suburban chassis now has all the lines P-clipped. Fuel lines, brake lines, axle vent, everything is tied together. We started it up here quick to let it idle since it's been sitting in the garage for over a month without being touched. Letting her idle out, and then we'll push it back inside and start preparing to do the body swap. So that's where we're at with the 54 Chevy Suburban, is getting ready to put the body on. I'll do the rear axle pads. I've got a different set with better shock system, and then we'll be hopefully doing burnouts by spring.